What's up, Foxden? Fox here, and today we are talking about the RX 550 in 2021. Join the Foxden Discord down below. And if you like my content, consider subscribing. First of all, if you want to see what the RX 550 is like with AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, I made a video on it, which you guys absolutely destroyed with views and subs and likes, so thank you so much for liking and subscribing. But today we are playing games that don't have that privilege, so we will be just doing regular games at full resolution, and they are going to be tough on this little card. The RX 550 was always advertised as an entry-level graphics card meant for esports titles. However, the RX 550 that I have has 4 gigs of VRAM, is from an HP system with a dinky little fan. It has 512 shading units, 128-bit memory bus, a TDP of a whopping 50 watts, requires no power connectors, and had a launch price of $79 US.
Wait a minute. So
I bought a used RX 550 for almost double that price. So first things first is a game I didn't benchmark because it was just too hard on the system and I didn't really want to, was Cyberpunk 2077. As you can tell, we finally got it to hit 30 FPS, but that was at 720p with 50% resolution. So it was very hard to get that game to run at 30 FPS, but at the end of the day, if you really want to play Cyberpunk, that's how you're going to have to do it. So let's get into the real benchmarks. Assassin's Creed Valhalla first, at 1080p with an 80% resolution scale, so almost 720p at the low settings, at an average of 36 FPS with a 1% low of 30 and a 0.1% low of 27. So this was a pretty hard game to run on it, but it honestly didn't even look that bad with the lowered resolution. So Crysis Remastered next. We just decided to heat this thing right up at 34 FPS on average at 1080p with everything on the low settings. We saw a 1% low of 30 FPS and a 0.1% low of 30 FPS. So this game ran very smoothly at 30 FPS most of the time. And then I decided to let it breathe a little bit because I felt like it needed it. So Fortnite next with the medium settings, and this game didn't even do that well. There was a whole lot of micro stutter in this game, but it came back at 1080p with the medium settings, an average frame rate of 48 with a 1% low of 21 and a 0.1% low of 6. For some reason, whether it be my internet or this graphics card, Fortnite was having trouble. It was stuttering quite a lot. But Master Chief does look very good. And the most recent game on our list, Outriders, almost 29.4 FPS. I could almost round it up to being 30, but at 1080p with the low settings, 29.4, so 29 FPS was the average with a 1% low of 3 and a 0.1% low of 2. Outriders is not optimized, and I don't think that people can fly even care anymore. I think that this game is dead in the water, which is very unfortunate because I had a whole lot of fun with it when it first came out, but it is just unoptimized. On any graphics card or any CPU, you're going to be seeing heavy stutter for some stupid reason. So unfortunately, not only does this not hit 30 FPS, but it was also a stuttery mess on the RX 550. But then you get into games that are more of the time. This card released in 2017, so games before that should run okay, and Fallout 4 did just that. At the high settings, at 1080p, we averaged 43 FPS with a 1% low of 33 and a 0.1% low of 31. So the game was very smooth, but I expected the average frame rate to be at least 60 FPS, considering the game came out 3 years before this card. But for an retail price, which I know doesn't exist anymore, of $80, I guess I can't really complain. So speaking of games that came out before this graphics card, Witcher 3 next still puts a lot of graphics cards through the ringer, and with the low settings with low post-processing, we saw an average frame rate of 41 FPS with a 1% low of 28 and a 0.1% low of 18. Although there wasn't a whole lot of stutter to speak of, there were some frame dips here and there, but they were negatable, and I would consider this to be a much smoother experience than some of the other games we tested today. However, it does, again, surprise me that an RX 550 can't handle this game at medium settings with 40 FPS or higher, and you have to go with low to get a decently smooth 40 FPS. So SOTTR, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider, with the 1080p low settings, we saw an average frame rate of 46 FPS with a 1% low of 37 and a 0.1% low of 31. Everybody always uses this game for benchmarks because it's demanding, but only when it wants to be. On the low settings, this actually ran very well on the RX 550, and I'm sure it's a fun game. I haven't gotten past it because I don't want to spend the money on it, so I'm just using the demo to test this, but it seemed like it was running very smoothly on an RX 550, and if you're looking for a good AAA title to play on this card, Shadow of the Tomb Raider seems like a great option. And last but not least, one of my favorite games. So I'm going to tell you right now, I benchmarked this in multiplayer at first, but was getting some weird frame rates for 1% and 0.1% lows, but the average frame rate was 60 FPS, and that I can attest to, because 60 FPS in multiplayer with the medium settings was very reasonable for Gears 5. However, the benchmark at 1080p on medium settings came back with an average FPS of 46, with a 1% low of 33 and a 0.1% low of 25. Now that is because the benchmark is for the campaign, and the campaign is generally more demanding in Gears 5. If you haven't played Gears 5, what are you doing? It's on Game Pass. Try it out and you will love it. Play the campaign. It's awesome. But those are all the games I tested on the RX 550 today. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, check out my gaming channel. Let me know what you think of this card, because I think that although some of the frame rates were a bit lower than I would have liked, the RX 550 still holds a special place, and I think it will become even more special as more games come out with AMD Fidelity FX, which if you subscribe to this channel, we will be doing more of later on. And of course, if you want to watch more AMD graphics cards, let me know down below. I can get some for you and we can test them out together. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, like, subscribe, do what you usually do, and as always, buy yourself something nice.